Again, we apologize for the late start, but it's going to be a very short ceremony. I think a maximum of 30 minutes and we'll be done.
Slide.
It's okay.
Your Excellency, the Ambassador of the European Union to the Gambia, retired Colonel Baji, the National Security Advisor and the Coordinator of SSR, and Mustafa, the representative of Gambia Press Union, distinguished journalists from different media houses. Good morning to you all. We appreciate your coming, and we want to say that this journey began some few months ago when we had the training on SSR with the journalists. And after the training, we discovered that there's a little bit of gap in terms of understanding security sector reform and as well as reporting on security sector reform and governance. And when we discovered that, we thought it wise that apart from the capacity building workshop, it was also needful that we develop a very simplified, easy to use or user-friendly guide for all the journalists, so that that in a way will help you to understand what SSR is all about, that is security sector reform, and the security sector in general, what it is all about, and what security sector governance is all about, and how do we report security issues or security sector reform in particular. So that guide, we believe, which will be handed over today by the Ambassador to the GPU, will go a long way in helping because SSR process, as every other person who is involved has been saying, it's something that should be all-encompassing, and everybody must be actively involved, including the media. But then, if you are to be involved, you must understand it, and you must be able to be in a position to engage constructively, and meaningfully in the entire process. And that's the whole idea of developing a guide like this and handing it over to you. DCAF, we remain grateful to EU for the support and all other stakeholders for the partnership, including the ANSA and the GPU. And we believe that we'll continue to do more of this in the near future to make sure that the process moves forward and to make sure that things happen as we expect. Without much ado, I will invite the representative of GPU to give some few remarks.
Thank you. I am Mustafa Mbai. I'm the chair of the ethics panel at the Gambia Press Union. So, good morning. Thank you very much. My name is Mustafa Mbai. I'm the chair of the ethics panel at the Gambia Press Union. It's an honor to represent the Gambia Press Union in this historic occasion. I'll call it historic because anything that has to do with providing members of the press union to do their work efficiently and with ethical standards, to me, in a new area of reporting. I'll call it new because this is the first time that journalists are reporting about security sector reforms in this magnitude. So it's historic, and we are very much thankful to DCAF and the European Union for this immense support. We all know that of course the Gambia is reforming its security sector, and this process began since 2017. So, and DCAF providing us with the training, especially this year, and then in turn also providing us this guide. We all know that to write stories we need angles, and to get an angle for a story you need to know what the issue is about, and this guide is providing us exactly that. So on behalf of the GPU, we are thanking DCAF for this, and we hope that such kind of support will continue to enable us also play our role in the democratization process of this country, which is very crucial at this moment. So thank you all, and I will urge all of our members to ensure that they abide by these guides. Let them use this guide to help us to write our stories, and then make it more professional and more ethical, which are issues now in the media. We must admit as media personnel that ethical standards are not followed the way that they are supposed to be followed all the time, and we need to adjust in this, especially when it comes to security sector reporting, security sector reform reporting. So I'll urge all of you to make best use of these materials so that we'll achieve the aims and objective to which this thing was provided for. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Mustafa, for that wonderful comments. And I think you made a very important point, issue of ethics, and that's the whole rationale for all this. We believe that at the end of the day, we should be able to report better, more factual, and in a way that is non-hostile in the way we deal with the security sector institutions. We now invite the NSA to give some remarks. As we know, is the National Security Advisor, and is also the one coordinating the whole process of SSR. And therefore, we are grateful that he's here with us this morning and to give remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, or DCAF coordinator. I want to recognize the presence of our sisters and brothers of the media fraternity. Foremost, I am honored and very pleased to be with you at the handing over, or if I can call it, launching of this very important document and guidelines on how you can cover appropriately the events that are being conducted in security sector reform and governance. I think we are all aware that in the past 2.5 years, the new government has taken its own, lead into trying to reform a lot of, sectors in our government, and the security is one important sector that we are grappling with. It also has a lot of stakeholders, and I will just emphasize the comments of the chairman to say that we in the security sector reform are happy to work with you. We are quite aware that you are one of our important stakeholders. In fact, to allude to that, we have employed the service of a communication strategist who helps us to ensure that there is outreach, and also we are able to sensitize the people and the populace on what is happening in our office and what we are doing in the security sector reform. Because one of the main factors is that we are convinced, and we need to convince everybody, that security sector reform belongs to the people. So therefore, the security should be able to deliver the needs and aspirations of the Gambian populace. And in doing that, you have a very key role to play as members of the media fraternity, journalists, whether electronic, radio, or whatever. You close an important gap in our deliberations, important gap in our work, that is to disseminate all the important informations that we need to get to the people, and also the feedback from the people to, the operators. We are all actors, we are all, stakeholders. Probably I'm sitting at the office of the national security, but I have the same stake and the same responsibility with all of you, especially in particular you, the journalists, who help us to disseminate again our informations. When you look at the security sector reform, I think there are a lot of things happening. In the first place, you ask yourself, why security sector reform? The past is history, but it is important. We all know how most of you suffered. We may sympathize in our own backyard, we may come openly, but what is important is we want to depart from the past and make sure that we have a very close collaborative and cooperative, working relationship with all the media, houses. And I think that is why DCAF have come to close the gap with this very important document. Security sector reform, what we talk about is we have seen the past and we really what we want now is to ensure that we come up with a security sector that is effective, that is efficient, and that will be listening to the people and ensuring that the people's ownership carries us. That is moving away from state-centric to, people-centric. There are challenges, of course, and I think you have all observed what is happening. We always say, people, it is more of politics, so meaning that, there must be also political highly sensitive. So that's why when we are a bit responsible, and I borrow the word from my brother here, the ethics. We need in for security come together and note that source is very clear. So the second challenge that we need helping to boost or build capacities of journalists, because like I said before, we are all in it collectively. So we should be able to move together. Sometimes there are fracas, but then what we should continue to do is dialogue is very paramount. We sit. So I think that is some of the things you will find in the real to work within a finger to our own. All sympathize with problems you had before. That's why now we are trying to ensure that we bring it to your doorstep. Issue, we have Samba there. I'm glad see you here. We don't have anything to hide. We put everything on the table and look at it critically for the benefit of the Gambian people and for the benefit of good governance. Supporting our endeavors in moving the security sector reform forward. You are also thanked. DCAF is prepared. On that note, your interactions security sector reform forward. I want to thank all of you. Workshop. Thank you very much. This notebook at the security sector, and you will have some ideas. Governance. Thank you very much for your kind. attention.
Thank you so much. We hope that the will continue and that feel president. And the lady in pink jacket there, take her number and ask all the questions, and then we are pushing for a decaf through the of EU. Now I have the honor to invite His Excellency the Ambassador to give his statement and also officially hand over the booklet to Mr.
Distinguished participants, distinguished journalists, duly observed. As I start with, I a guide on SSR to the Gambia Union is, and we believe your role is. I personally think that Edward Snowden, let me quote, there can be no faith in government if our highest offices are excused from scrutiny. They should be set transparency. Damn right. The context of the security is particularly important. That transparency in the security sector reform is fundamentally important. By nature, security sector institutions have a tendency to perceive publicity and transparency and democratic control mechanisms as a sort of intrusion in their decision-making and effectiveness. While some information may not be, of course, disclosed legitimately for reasons of national security, it is time to time used as justification for a general lack of transparency and accessibility to democratic control. Media information is an effective tool for citizens to participate in decisions on key issues related to public safety and security, and also to challenge them if necessary. A strong media is not only beneficial for the public but also for security institutions themselves. Engaging constructively with the media can only add to their own legitimacy and that of security and justice providers. The new course undertaken by the Gambia should be underpinned by safeguarding of the media's independence and pluralism through the reform of repressive laws and policies that affected the media during the previous regime. And this is real time. This is what's happening real time now. The improvement in government media relations represents an opportunity for the media to contribute directly to the security sector reform process. Yet, for this purpose to be successful, the media's participation in security sector discourse should be meaningful, constructive, and long-term. The aim of DCAF support to the Gambian media is to enable them to actively and meaningfully participate in the SSR process, thus support it. This was done through capacity building trainings, development of a guide on SSR for media professionals to foster the development of in-depth knowledge and understanding of the role of the media in security sector governance and democratic oversight. If the media takes part in this process, the reform will become more transparent, more participatory, and more democratic. Look what's happening in TRC, CRC, and the role of media there. Those success stories, the processes of TRC and CRC, should also be an inspiration for all the actors in the security sector reform. Distinguished media professionals, I still believe that if your aim is to change the Gambia, to create the new Gambia, metaphorically speaking, I believe journalism is a more immediate short-term weapon. metaphorically speaking. And I beg you, use your weapon. And use it with tact and precision. And I hope this guide will help you in doing just that. I thank you very much for your attention, and as a closing remark, let me express my gratitude to the professionals, experts who were contributing to this booklet, to this guide from DCAF, and of course, great thanks to the Gambia Press Union to be our natural partners in that. And of course, it goes without saying that I express my appreciation for the Gambian government, and especially those ranks in the security sector management, security sector reform management, like His Excellency the National Security Advisor. Once again, I thank you all. Needless to add that, of course, my office is open. Should you have any questions regarding EU's role or support in the SSR in the Gambia. Once again, thank you very much. Enjoy what this booklet can bring to you. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
It will not bring the solution, but it will certainly help all the journalists to find a solution. So, we'll do that. Okay, let's put it in here. Everybody's done? Okay. All right.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.